Hey guys, welcome back. If this is your first time checking out my channel, hi, I'm Cookcakes357, but you can call me Cooks. And I'm the author and illustrator of an action fantasy webcomic called Outcasts. I'm actually drawing some of two of the main characters in the background, and since summer is just beginning, I thought this would be a good time to draw them in some beach-themed outfits. Anyways, if you've watched any of my videos or read my webcomic, link in the description by the way, you know that I'm very much into art and drawing. I love coming up with fun character designs, dynamic poses, and finding out cool backstories for all of my OCs. But how'd I even get here? What motivated me to pursue art? My answer to that is pretty simple, actually, and probably the same for a lot of artists and animators. I'm a big cartoon and animation nerd, and I wanted to create my own characters and stories. So, in celebration of Outcast's 2-year anniversary coming up at the end of the summer, let's go! I decided to attempt the 10 art style challenge. I chose 10 art styles that I'd like to draw, mainly animated TV shows that I've watched, and drew my character persona in each style. But before we do, if you'd like to see more art like this, or learn more about the characters of my webcomic, you can check it out on Tapas and come join my Patreon for exclusive content. Joining my Patreon directly supports me and gets you exclusive content, early access to Outcast comic pages, as well as YouTube videos before they're even released, and lots of other cool stuff. Links to both are in the description below. And for now, without further ado, let's get into it. I know, I said I'd be drawing in 10 art styles, but first we have to start with a base reference before we move on to the others. For my art style, I'm going to be calling it what I've been calling it for years now. Cartoony realistic. I know, you can judge it, you can say it sounds like a stupid name, but I think it fits my art style pretty well. While my persona has realistic proportions and other elements of realism incorporated into it, it also has a cartoony vibe, you know? Big eyes, all that cool stuff. For those who are probably asking, is this what you really look like? I'm gonna be upfront with you and be the first to just rip that band-aid off. Sort of, but not really. Okay, what I do in my art style is I take an aspect or feature and just run with it. Actually, less of run with it and more like full-on sprint with it. For example, I have wavy and somewhat messy hair. You can definitely see this aspect integrated in my persona. The hair length is actually a callback to when I decided to cut my hair up to my jawline. And it made my mom totally freak out. So, I would call that a successful experiment. And while I don't wear flannel jackets, t-shirts, and jeans every day, I do find them comfy and I do like to wear them. So I thought I'd integrate it in my character as well. Also, before anyone asks, I don't have bangs anymore. I tried them, and I didn't like them. But I kept them messy like the rest of my hairstyle. And here's my character in my art style. Let's move on. Now, while watching Disney Channel was a huge part of my childhood, The Owl House itself didn't come out until I was well into my early teens. It aired its season 3 when I was well into college. But I still love it. I love the cartoony nature of the character designs with a significant amount of complexity and detail. The storyline is compelling and keeps you wanting more lore. Oh my gosh, I love it! Now, I kind of went a little out of the box with this one. And I know that all of you are thinking, why'd you draw your character with witch ears? And to that I say, read my webcomic, learn more about the main characters, and I promise you will understand everything. It will all make sense. The hardest part to design for me specifically was the eyes. Do I keep them brown with bottom eyelashes like Loose, or with top cat eyelashes like Amity? The answer? Both of them. Heck yeah, we're going nuts! Also, I made the shirt a combination of Loose's and my shirt. Oh, before I forget, I did make a second attempt at this art style, but I lost the speed paint footage, so boo. So here are both interpretations. Which one do you like better? We're moving right along. Okay, Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, I am not talking about Teen Titans Go. It came out when I was really little, but I got more into it when I got a little older. And I love the character designs and the ongoing plot of the series. It is so cool. I feel like the original series combined realism, cartoony, and anime and blended it into the art style that you see in the show. But hey, who am I to judge? Honestly, I think it's really cool. While my design transferred well into the Teen Titans art style, the bangs on my character's hair gave me the most trouble because I didn't want them to cover her eyes. You don't see a ton of that in the cartoon, but I eventually figured it out. I used references of Terra, Starfire, and Raven for this design, and I think it turned out pretty good. Here's the Teen Titans art style. Boom! Alright, so nobody get mad at me. Promise? Promise you will not get mad at me. Okay. I wasn't allowed to watch or play Pokemon as a kid. Don't come at me. Whenever my classmates asked me what my favorite Pokemon was, I would just mentally blank and say Pikachu. Because it was the only Pokemon I knew up until my adult life. But I think we can all agree that Pikachu is iconic and adorable. I mean, come on. This was one of the first art styles I drew for this video. And honestly, I think it's one of my top 3 favorites that I drew. The fun colors, the eye highlights, and the dynamic poses. Yes, I love it so much! Honestly, I feel like I'm avenging my kid self right now. So, take that, people who wouldn't let me watch Pokemon. I am well versed in Pokemon now, dang it! Also, I gave my character a cool spiky ponytail for this one. I just thought it was a cute touch. Moving on. Okay, Infinity Train is next. And honestly, I'm pretty sad that this TV show series isn't continuing because I love the premise of it. For those of you who don't know, each season is called a book of the series, which I really love because think about it. Think of the symbolism. You are quite literally closing the book on one character's story and opening the book to another person's. It's a very cool metaphor. For this design, it was pretty easy. I kept the hair and the bangs around the same as mine, and the eyes weren't too difficult. But I had a lot of fun with the pose. Since most of the poses aren't really that interesting or dynamic, I wanted to go a little quirky and silly with this one, which, that pretty much sums up my whole personality. No judging me, okay? Oh, and if you haven't watched Infinity Train, first off, I'd highly recommend it. And 2, the number on my hand is a callback to one of the main plot points of the show. Basically, all the characters who get on the train are dealing with their own internal struggle or trauma or something like that. And once they come to terms with it and meet their goal, the number on their hand changes to a 0, and a portal door opens, taking them back home. Wasn't sure what number to go with, but again, just a fun callback to the show's premise. Here's me in Infinity Train's art style. Okay, so Gravity Falls is one of the shows I actually watched as a kid. I think I was around a preteen when it came out. And I still watch it a lot as an adult. It's kind of like a comfort show, you know? I did really want this show to have a 3rd season, but I can see why they didn't continue it. I mean, Alex Hirsch said it himself. It was meant to be one summer. And I'm glad they didn't drag it out too much. Some shows do that and you kind of lose interest. And I'm glad Gravity Falls was able to wrap it up nicely. I think the best way I can describe my character design for Gravity Falls is a blend of Mabel and Wendy. I tried to pull design elements from Dipper, Mabel, and Wendy while keeping it unique to my character. Oh, and if you're wondering who's my favorite character in the Gravity Falls universe, I don't really have a favorite. I do have some characters I can relate to, like Mabel and Wendy. Long story short, I'm really into arts and crafts, and I can't be silly like Mabel, but I still have a tomboyish and chill side like Wendy. And here's the Gravity Falls me. Okay, I started watching Amphibia when it first aired on Disney XD, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it at the start. Yes, I loved the main characters, and yes, it was goofy, had an awesome story, as well as great lore. But, well, alright, if you haven't watched Amphibia or you're going to watch it after this, spoiler alert. I honestly didn't like how Sasha was portrayed in the very beginning. Now, granted, every story has to have an antagonist. I know, I get that. Every story has to have an antagonist. But when Sasha was first shown, they introduced her as a very charismatic, but also very shallow and manipulative girl towards Anne and Marcy. And to be frank, I thought they were introducing Sasha as the stereotypical blonde mean girl like Regina George. And I really didn't like that they cast her in that light at first, because it's a very common stereotype. But I loved her redemption arc all the same, and I'm glad she went through a lot of character development through the seasons, because she slowly became one of my favorite characters in the show. For the design, I used Sasha and Anne as my main references, mainly because Sasha and Anne share a lot of similarities with me and my character. Messy blonde hair, big white eyes, and the jacket that Sasha wore throughout the first season was a big help in designing my character's jacket in the Amphibia art style. I also gave it a few patches just to spice it up a little bit. Also, favorite character in the show? It's a tie between the Calamity Trio. If you don't know what I mean by that, I mean the three girl protagonists, Anne, Sasha, and Marcy. They are all awesome. Anyways, here's me in the Amphibia art style. Highly recommend that you check out this show if you haven't yet. It's another Disney Channel show, The Ghost and Molly McGee. Okay, if you haven't watched this show, I highly recommend it. Yeah, you can say it's a kid's show all you want, but I still love it. Actually, that's probably true with 75% of the shows that I'm showing on this. And I am not ashamed to admit it. I did cry at the ending. And I actually attempted this art style before, and when my character looked a little different back when I was really into animation. But because it was such a long time ago, I couldn't find it, unfortunately. Crap. Maybe it's for the best. Anyway, I tried to pull references from Andrea, Molly, and Libby to give my character a little more depth and complexity within the design. And voila, here it is. Me and the Ghost and Molly McGee art style. So, Danny Phantom is the only Nickelodeon show that I'm drawing in this challenge. Again, this came out really early in my childhood, and I might have had to wait quite a while into my teenage years before I watched it. I wasn't banned from watching it or anything, but I had that strong gut feeling that my parents wouldn't be okay, given the premise of the show. Long story short, for us, ghosts were a big no-no. Same thing with the Fairly Odd Parents. Dang it. Don't worry, I ended up watching that show into my teens too, and I loved it. But anyways, I do really like the plot and characters of the show, and they wrapped the ending up really nicely with a big bow. The theme song, I will agree with everyone right now, it will forever be stuck in my head. I love it. For the Danny Phantom art style, I took references from Sam and Danny because I don't know if you realize this, but this show really inspired my art style. Specifically the spiky bangs of my character. Side tangent. Drawing Danny as a kid was actually how I grew in drawing guys' hairstyles. Long story short, I've always had an easier time drawing girls' hairstyles and had a real hard time drawing guys. But drawing Danny Phantom prompted me to grow a lot and make a lot of progress in my artistic growth. My shirt is a combo of Danny's and mine, and I took a few references of the girls in the show who had more wavy and curly hairstyles, just because Sam usually has straight hair, and I also had fun with the hair highlights. They were really fun. I really like it. And boom! Here's me in the Danny Phantom art style. Okay, if you've been on my channel before, you might have seen me in the Star vs. the Forces of Evil art style before. Because, spoiler, it's actually my first video's thumbnail. Link to this in the description, by the way. But this one looks a lot different than that one. For Star vs. the Forces of Evil, I watched this series from the beginning to end, and I was crazy about the show. I mean, fantasy, adventure, magic, and lore. Heck yeah, let's go. Was it kind of stretched a little thin with 4 seasons? Maybe, but you gotta keep pacing in mind. If you cram a bunch of plot and characters into one episode or one season, it's gonna overwhelm your audience. For the art style, I focused on the main features of Star and the other female characters in the show. Big expressive eyes, cute outfits, and stylish and sometimes messy hair. All of which are my art style too, so that made it a little bit easier. For my character, I basically made her a combination of Star and Jackie. Star because she is the female protagonist that we see the most of, and she has a lot of physical characteristics in common with me and my character. But Jackie herself has a similar eye color as well and has wavy hair. So, here we go. My character in the Star vs. the Forces of Evil art style. Let's move on to the last one. For my last art style of this challenge, I decided to go with one whose release date lines up very closely with Danny Phantom, and one that I remember watching very clearly. Kim Possible. For the show, I don't have too much to say about it, not because I didn't like it, quite the contrary actually, but because it's pretty iconic and a lot of people have already seen it. And no, I have not seen the Disney Channel remake of it yet, so do not say no spoilers. As for my character in the Kim Possible art style, I used Kim as my main reference and worked my way from there. Also, since I don't see a ton of female characters in this universe with spiky hair, I made the bangs a bit more wavy this time around and had the hair tied back in a ponytail. Also, no, I didn't give my character a crop top. Sorry. And here's my final art style of this video. Kim Possible art style. Mission success. And that's a wrap for this video. I hope you all enjoyed my attempt at the art style challenge. Again, this was so much fun to make. This video was so much fun to make, and I had a lot of fun designing my character in different art styles. It really helped me think out of the box. Leave your favorite art style in a comment below, and a special thank you to my Patreon members. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for supporting me in the making of my webcomic Outcasts and my artistic journey. None of this would be possible without you guys. Also, just a reminder, if you'd like to see more art like this, more art story times, or you just want to learn more about my webcomic Outcasts, you can check it out on Tapas and come join my Patreon for exclusive content. Joining my Patreon gets you exclusive content, early access to my webcomic Outcast comic pages, and YouTube videos before they're released, as well as lots of other cool stuff. Links to all of this are in the description. As always, keep creating, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!